Hello. Welcome, everybody. Hi. Hello, hello. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Richard. Pam. Willow. Hi, Willow. Oh, so many of you. Hi, Willow. That's great. Oh, lovely. Hi, Morgan. Hello, Zev's mom and dad. Hi. Oh, so sweet to see you all. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Johnny. Hello. Hello, hello, welcome. So, and welcome, Sandra. Great. Yeah, so I imagine others will trickle in the next few minutes, but we'll get started with a little bit of guided meditation to help us drop in and get present here. So you can begin by finding your body, bringing your attention into your body. Making any adjustments to your posture that help you find that balance of alertness and relaxation, openness and presence. If you're upright, noticing the energetic tone of being up, of having a straight back. There's a kind of feeling tone to that. Invite your body to relax any obvious tensions. For the next 8 minutes or so, we'll practice concentration, samadhi. You can choose whatever object you like to focus on. I'll be guiding a breath practice with body relaxation. So, tuning into your breath. Wherever it's easiest to feel. It could be at the nostrils or the abdomen. As you're paying attention to the breathing process, see if you can get quite curious about it, interested in it. Noticing all of the subtle shifts, shimmers, and movements of the breath, coming in and going out. You can find a way to be curious of the breath. This will help your mind and attention settle on the breath as an object. You can also notice that breathing is intrinsically a little pleasant. just as not breathing is intrinsically unpleasant, you can notice that as you settle, just feels kind of good, kind of nice to breathe and to pay attention to breath. You can explore these two aspects of curiosity, fascination, interest, and pleasure, or the comfortable, nice feeling of the breath. Just allow your body and mind to settle. As you do that, I will lead a short relaxation. Relaxing the top of the head, the temples, and the forehead. Letting the forehead be smooth without tension. The eyes, eyelids, let them be gently closed without tension, or open without tension. Relaxing the nose, lips, the tongue and the mouth, letting it float. The ears, the whole face. Letting the whole face melt, any tension dissolving, dropping away. The throat and the neck, releasing any tension there. Shoulders, letting tension drain down through the body into the earth. Upper arms, lower arms, hands. Letting the arms be like wet rags, just completely without tension, totally loose. Noticing too that it feels good to relax, feels nice. Welcome that too. Relaxing the upper chest, the middle of the torso, and the belly, in particular the lower belly. Really letting any tension there drain out. The upper back, mid back, lower back. Any tension that you find, just invite it to release. coming to the pelvis. Any tension there, letting it drain away. The upper legs and giving special attention to the inner thigh. So much tension gets stored there. So allowing any stuckness, any tension to release. The lower leg. And the feet. Then bringing your awareness to cover the whole field of the body, this whole breathing body. If there's a sense of ease or comfort, sort of leaning into that, nuzzling into that, opening to that. With each breath, letting any tension you find drain away down into the earth. Allowing to whatever degree this body and mind to come into a state of harmony, coherence. So welcome everybody. My name is Ryushin and I'll be leading the event today. And the way that this event is structured, we'll do a check-in just to get everybody's voices in the room. I'll give a talk for about 30 minutes or so. We'll do a longer guided meditation, and then we'll have time at the end for question and answers or discussion, sharing of experience. So first, would love to open up space for everybody just to say hello. You can share your name, and I think this time I actually thought about this beforehand. I'd like everybody to share one word that communicates what it's like to be you right now. Could be any word, but just one word. So I'll demonstrate. So my name is Ryushin, and my word is oh.
Us first or
Why don't you go first?
Let's start with Tashin.
I'm Tashin and calm.
Koshin.
Goshen, honest.
Hello, I'm Zev. Up.
And as best you can, when you say the word, try to embody the word as well as say it. If you want. For fun.
I'm Keller and persistent.
I'm Anna.
Let's go to Lynn and Bob.
Hello, everyone, and Ryushin. I'm Lynn, and I'm calm.
Oh, that was going to be my word. I'm calm too.
Okay. Calm 1 and calm 2.
Thank you. Margaret.
I'm Margaret, and I'm curious.
Thank you, Margaret. Rich.
Hi, everyone. Buoyant.
Thank you, Rich. Morgan.
I'm Morgan. I'm surprised.
Thank you, Morgan. Let's go to everyone at Willow.
If you can find one word to describe all 7 of your experiences, that's
I don't know. I'm Seishin and I'm Wiggly.
I'm Yuli and I'm rolling. I'm Sprout.
James, happy. Uli, fortuitous.
Mark, foggy.
Colin, disconnected.
Thank you, everyone at Willow. Johnny.
Hello, I'm Johnny, and I'm blessed.
Thank you, Johnny. Sandra.
Hi, I'm Sandra, and I'm relieved.
Thanks, Sandra. Renee.
Renee. Mellow.
Thank you, Renee. Gergely and whoever's with Gergely.
Hi, I'm Gergely and I'm tingly.
I'm Minoa and I feel renewed.
Thank you. Christine. Oh, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. I'm Christine and lucky.
Thanks, Christine. Let's go to Jeff.
Hey everyone, I'm Jeff and I'm joyful.
I see. Pam already introduced herself in the chat, and she is hopeful. Let's see, Jenna.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I am open.
Thank you, Jenna.
Is that everyone? Wonderful. Well, so nice to have all of your voices in this space, even though we're distributed around the planet. It's nice to feel connected with you. Really is a delight of mine to host these events, and really lovely to see so many familiar faces and some new ones too. So today I'm going to talk about harmony, as was present in the event description. I chose this topic for the primary. Well, first I chose it because of this print, which I don't know if you can see, but this is, if you can see it, it says, can you read that? Can people read that? Thumbs up or no? Maybe bring it a little closer. It's really beautiful. This is a print from Hirata Roshi, Soryu's teacher. And it says, harmony is best. Yes? Okay, that's probably good. It has two little mice in it. Tasha and I were discussing, we think that they're probably friends, maybe mother or father and child. But in any case, this print has been at the Monastic Academy in Vermont for years, yes? And it was featured prominently in the Dharma Hall for a long time. And it's a very simple statement, but when spoken by somebody or written by somebody like Hirata Roshi, it carries with it a lot of meaning. He's literally meaning that harmony is best. Yes, it's the best. It's the best thing. Many things could be the best, but in fact, he's suggesting that harmony is the best thing. And so I spent a lot of time kind of staring at that when I was supposed to be practicing, or just sort of like letting that percolate in my mind. And I thought it'd be fun to explore this idea of harmony. In particular, I love or appreciate metaphors that can help us make sense out of lots of disparate elements, right? In a sense, I love the capacity of metaphors to harmonize our understanding. And so it's my sense that harmony and the movement towards harmony, the sense of harmony being the best, or being like the thing that we're striving for, can actually help us hold together many seemingly disparate aspects of the path in our practice and our engagement with life. And so in this talk, I'm going to sort of open that up, fill that out, and kind of play with this idea of harmony as it applies to a lot of different aspects of our life and training. So I looked up, if you just like Google define harmony, you get a lot of different definitions. The one that I think is most related to what I imagine Hirata Roshi is pointing to in this print is the definition that says, the quality of forming a pleasing and consistent whole. The quality of forming a pleasing and consistent whole. And related words are ones like balance, coherence, symmetry, and integrity. And so when I say harmony, what I mean is the functioning of the parts of a system in a way that leads the whole system to function in a coherent and beautiful way. So an example of this is like our physical bodies, right? There's all these different parts, like the liver and the spleen and the heart and the stomach, and they're all doing their thing. They're all doing what they were, so to speak, designed to do, or what they evolved to do. And because they're each doing what they are meant to do, we have bodies, and they are a coherent whole system because these parts are harmoniously functioning. And I would suggest that this path, what we're seeking to become, are the kinds of people who can act in ways that are aligned, that are harmonious with all systems at all levels. Yes, so we act in ways that are good for us, good for our friends and our relationships, and good for the whole world. And in fact, I would argue even good for all time, right? There are certain native traditions that talk about acting in ways that are of benefit to the next 7 generations. So that's a very deep form of harmonious action. And as I was researching for this talk, it's in China, in Chinese philosophical history, harmony has long been the North Star. The main objective of a life well lived is the embodiment of harmony. In Confucianism, they sought harmony in family and society, culture and governance. And in Taoism, they sought harmony within and with the nature of nature. And you can see concepts like the yin and yang as a kind of embodiment or representation of the sense that harmony is best. Yes, so the yin and yang are not antagonistic to each other. One is not better than the other, but instead they have a relationship of mutual harmony, more like the positive and negative poles of an electrical current, or the north and south poles of the earth. Each is necessary as part of an integrated system, and neither can, in fact, exist without the other. We can kind of draw out that in distinction from more Western dualistic traditions, like the ones that we were likely raised in, that view good and evil as somehow intrinsically antagonistic and necessitating an endless struggle, right? Or at least endless until the end of times, when finally one will triumph, typically good. Yes, a very different kind of philosophical basis for that thinking versus what most of us are probably kind of in a very deep way programmed with. So it's very important from the very beginning to distinguish between harmony and agreement, right? This is critical. So harmony does not necessarily mean agreement. You can, in fact, disagree with somebody while still being in harmony with them. And this is something that the Chinese philosophical tradition has explored and kind of articulated in various ways. I found one. So in the Analects of Confucius, it says, "The large-minded person pursues harmony rather than agreement. The small person does the opposite." It's interesting because there's some way in which I know I had to kind of confront this assumption that harmony meant agreement, that we'd be unified in our perspective. It's not so. So a commentator named Wang Po Chin explained this verse with a story about a ruler named the Marquis of Qi, who complained that of all his ministers, only one, named Qi, supported him in what he wanted to do. And so this is a story within the Confucian tradition. And so it says, the Marquis of Qi says, "Only Qi is in harmony with me." Yanzi, the, you might say like Confucian master or teacher, says, "All that Qi does is agree with you. Where is the harmony in that?" And the Marquis asks, "Is there a difference between harmony and agreement?" Yanzi, the master, replies, "There is. Harmony is like making broth. One uses water and fire and vinegar, sauce, salt, and plum to cook his fish and meat, and burns firewood and stalks as fuel for the cooking process. The cook blends these ingredients harmoniously to achieve the appropriate flavor. Where it is too bland, he adds flavoring, and where it is too concentrated, he dilutes it with water. When you partake of this broth, you feel most content." Now, your minister, Qi, is not acting accordingly. Whatever you say is right, he also says is right. Whatever you say is wrong, he also says is wrong. If you add water to flavor water, who can eat it? If you keep playing the same note on the lute, who can listen to it? The failing of agreement lies in this. Yeah, so very important. Harmony is not uniformity. It is not agreement. Instead, it is the appropriate balancing of disparate things. You might say, in some cases, it's a way of holding difference that leads to the integrity of the whole system. It's a way of holding difference that leads to the integrity of the whole. So, when we look at the path and all the different aspects of the path, the different kinds of practices and trainings and arenas that we turn to as we walk the path, we can see this thread of harmony going all the way through each of the different arenas. And so I'll explore a little bit what that might look like, just to kind of fill this out, right? So we can look at samadhi practice, concentration practice, the type of meditation that we open this session with. So even the term samadhi, derives from the root samada, which means to collect or to bring together. And it's often translated as a kind of unification of mind, a putting or joining together. And one of my teachers often describes it as something like a state of harmonious well-being, where the mind, the body, and attention are gathered together, coherent, harmonious, in a state of well-being. Yes. So here in concentration practice, we're moving towards a very, the whole movement is towards that of harmony, is towards that of bringing together, finding the state of coherent well-being and stability. When it comes to the psyche, a different system, the psyche or our psychology, there are many different kinds of theories of mind and different approaches to the psychology. One that I'm quite familiar with is internal family systems. And that, and I could draw out, if we had more time, applying this metaphor to all kinds of other psychological theories. But in internal family systems, the idea is that we are made up of parts, right? I have, my psyche is made up of like an inner critic who's constantly telling me that I'm not good enough. It's made up of a hedonist that wants to go eat a burrito right after this. It's made up of a good Buddhist who says, no, sense pleasures, that's not the path to happiness. You should go meditate after this, meditate more, yes? And many other parts. And they're all motivated by different things. They all want different things. They believe different things. They see the world in different ways. And the movement towards psychological healing is bringing all these disparate parts into a kind of harmonious accordance where they can see from each other's point of view and generate a kind of integrated action on behalf of the psyche. Yes? And so across all the different psychological traditions, you see this movement of taking the fractured psyche and making it whole again. The movement of integration is a movement towards harmony. So here again, just like with samadhi practice, we see this core movement of harmonization. In terms of relationships, the Buddha over and over and over again, when speaking of how we should be with each other, how we should be with our Sangha, talked about, praised harmony. Well, there are so many passages that I could have brought. I found one from the middle discourses, Sutta 31, the shorter discourse at Gosinga. And so in this discourse, the Buddha is, I think, going and seeing a small group of monks, maybe like 5 or 7 monks, and he's noticing, he says that they live together in harmony, mutual appreciation and agreeability, like milk and water mixed, regarding each other with the eyes of love. And he asks the monks, he says, how is it that you live in such harmony? How is it that you have come to live like this? And one of the monks replies, well, I always consider what a blessing it is, what a real blessing that I am living with such companions in the spiritual life. I think, speak, and act with love towards them, both in public and in private. I always consider that I should put aside my own wishes and acquiesce to what they want, and then I do that. Thus, we are many in body, but one in mind. Yes, that's exactly the definition of harmony. Disparate parts functioning as an integrated whole, many in body, but one in mind. And they go on to articulate, to espouse the values that lead to harmony in human relationships, values like love, generosity, appreciation, being sensitive to the needs of others, forgiveness, kindness, respect, sympathy, tolerance. Again and again, the Buddha praises these values and how they contribute to the harmonious functioning of communities and societies. So again, harmony in relationships. We see that we can consider what we really want, actually, is to be in a deeply harmonious relationship where we can fully be ourselves, they can fully be themselves, and we can be together in kindness and respect and function as a kind of, in a kind of togetherness, a harmonious togetherness. As we go out, we can see, apply this to harmony with the world. Here, I think, if you've ever encountered Soryu's teachings on living your vow, right? This is where we find ourselves at the Awakened Leadership Intensive, one of the retreats we offer at the Monastic Academy in Vermont. The question that we ask for people to consider what their vow might be is, how do I give my gift to my people? And my gift in this case is my life. And the people are all sentient beings. Yes. What is it? What is it that I am called to do? The more that we can come into relationship with that, into integrity with that, the more we live in harmony with all of life. Right? The more that the trees speak to us, then we can see that they are our friends, that they're calling us forth. The birds, the sky, the mountains. This is coming into harmony with the world, with life. And then the deepest, most fundamental kind of harmony, coming into harmony with the nature of nature, as Shinzen says. This is insight into emptiness, the movement of replacing delusion with wisdom and clear seeing. We think things are permanent when they're not. We think that grabbing on to pleasure or pushing away pain is how we'll find satisfaction, but we won't. And we think that there is this separate individual self that I need to protect and keep safe, but there's not. And as we turn over those delusions, we come into a deeper and deeper and fundamental harmony with the way things are. Soryu once said, just as a quip, like I think it was at the end of a retreat, I think he was literally like walking out the door and he said, harmony is the shadow of selflessness. Harmony is the shadow of selflessness. The awakened mind casts that shadow. It's beautiful. Yes, beautiful. So we see this thread all the way up and down from the largest scale, right? The whole world, the whole, the nature of all things, all the way down into our psyche, into our energy body. There's this thread of harmony. Again, I mentioned before how harmony is not agreement, but it's actually more than that. It's more rich than that. And in fact, there's a mutually supportive relationship between conflict and harmony. So I love, there's this, sounds very nerdy, but this 20th century virtue ethicist named Nikolai Hartmann, I really like him a lot. And so I found this quote And he says, so just as in knowledge, right, in the pursuit of knowledge, a problem is a basic value, meaning that a problem has value in that it calls forth a solution, it calls forth insight. Although it is the opposite of a solution, it's the opposite of insight, and yet problems have a value. Just so in ethical life, conflict is basic. Although it means incompleteness, it means disharmony. Indeed, it means a lack of value. Conflict is that which keeps discernment and the feeling of value alive and opens up new vistas. Yeah. Conflict becomes a doorway into a deeper and more robust harmony. This is the difference between brittle, facile harmony, what appears to be harmony, and the true harmony that we want to achieve. Yet the true harmony is achieved by seeing conflict, by seeing tension, by seeing contraction, and participating in a way that reveals, that opens up a deeper, more trustworthy harmony. So in the energy body, we find with practice that it's actually the most stuck places, the places where it feels like there's the least well-being, that in time open up to tremendous amounts of energy, to tremendous amounts of joy. It's like all of the well-being, all of the harmony was concentrated in the pain, in the contraction. It's amazing, right? We turn towards that, we accept it, we open to it, and then it reveals itself and it takes us into a deeper harmony. With the psyche, with our psychology, it's our struggles with our interior conflicts that are a vessel, a kind of alchemical vessel that afford a deeper integration of the psyche. So I've shared this story with the residents here. When I used to live, I trained at Maple from 2015 to 2017, and then I left. And I went and lived in Boulder, Colorado for about 2.5 years. And for most of that time, I was in a really beautiful relationship with a woman that I loved a lot. And at a certain point, I realized that I was feeling called back to live at Maple. I was called back to training. But I also loved this woman, right? I also loved this woman. So in my psyche, these two parts were in dire conflict. It was totally clear that I could not have both. There's just no way. I could not have both. It just would not work. But I loved her and I loved the training, right? And so what do? I love both of these things and they're incommensurable. And so by not shying away from that conflict, by not by ignoring it, but instead by just holding that tension, by holding that struggle and allowing it to, in a sense, work me out, eventually it became clear that indeed I did want to go back to Maple. Didn't mean I didn't love her, but it clarified my love for this training, for this path, this way of life, right? It clarified, it brought integrity to my psyche. It said, yes, I love both these things, but in fact, this is what I'm willing to dedicate my life. When push comes to shove, this is what's most important to me. And so it's through that conflict that my psyche clarified and came into a deeper integrity. It's not through pretending as if we have all of our interiority sorted out that we sort out our interiority. It's by turning into the conflict, into the tension, into the things we don't know, that we discover a deeper, more trustworthy harmony. Or you can look at relationships where it's probably extremely evident. Every time we've been doing group processing here at Oak, where we kind of sit in a circle and talk about things that are up, right? We kind of just like, and we turn towards the disagreement, the conflict, the way we see things differently. And when we hold that with a degree of skill and care and presence, inevitably, every time that conflict becomes a doorway to deeper understanding, deeper intimacy, deeper harmony of the group. Every time. Now, of course, in all of these cases, there's ways of relating to conflict which does not lead to harmony. In fact, if you look at the world, that's currently how things go. Yes, that's how things go. But what we do when we walk this path is become the kind of person who can take conflict and relate to it in a way that produces harmony, that harmonizes the system, whether it's our own internal systems of our psyche or our energy body, or if it's the relationships we have with our friends or in our community or with the world. So there's a value in harmony. Harmony is best, but there's also a value in conflict. There's a value in conflict. And in fact, to discover the deepest harmony, we must also include conflict. We must harmonize conflict. Again, this prevents us from settling for a brittle kind of idiot harmony, right? Chogyam Trungpa talks about idiot compassion, right? The difference between being nice and being kind, pretending that we all agree and actually doing the hard work of working through our differences to find a greater harmony. And that difference is a difference that makes all the difference. It's a very important distinction. And so as we look in this way, and as we begin to see and cultivate the way of being in the world that tends towards harmony, we see more and more clearly how all of these systems, how all these different aspects and arenas are interconnected, right? Attention in the relational field of the monastery leads to a blockage in the energy body of individuals at the monastery and repetitive thought patterns of individuals in the monastery. Harmony in the psyche, in the psychology, right, an integrated psyche, settles and opens and harmonizes the energy body. It's easier to settle into a state of concentration and samadhi when the psyche is integrated. When we speak in a group from a place of a harmonized psyche and a harmonized energy body, we inevitably, almost regardless of the content of what we're saying, harmonize the collective field. And one that I've been studying for the past few years is the way that disharmony in, say, human society, human culture, can lead to disharmony in the psyche, in the body. So here I have a selection that I'd like to read from James Hillman's book. The title of this book is great. It says, it's called, We've Had 100 Years of Psychotherapy and the World's Getting Worse. And you could replace the title with, we've had 100, well, I guess not 100. In the West, we've had 70 years of the Dharma and the world's getting worse. So this book is a conversation between Michael Ventura and James Hillman. Michael Ventura is a reporter. James Hillman is this amazing psychologist and therapist. So Ventura says, it's not just your parents, your childhood, Hillman says, or my relationship with my marriage. There is a dysfunction in the society that is affecting us. And the second step is, I cannot repair it in myself, in my own relationships alone, because my problem is social dysfunctions. So how is settling things with my wife going to repair the dysfunction of the general situation? That's a romantic delusion, that if we can just get our sex right, our conversations right, if I could just find the right relationships, if my home could be more perfect, could be safe, if I could find balance in my home, I'd be happy. talk to my kid, talk to my wife, quit drinking, get laid decently a couple times a week, get on a decent diet, get exercise, make a little more money, then I would really be okay. Except you won't, because you still live in this crazy world of dysfunction that impinges on you and influences you and yours 24 hours a day. Where the school isn't right for my kids, where the food I eat is not right, where the air I breathe is not right, where the architecture in which I spend my time assaults me, the lighting and the chairs and the smells and the plastics are not right, where the words I hear on TV and are printed in the newspaper are lies, where the people who are in charge of things are not right because they are hypocritical and hiding what they are really doing. So how can I ever get it right within my home and within my marriage? What we're saying is this: you can't make a separate peace. You can't sign a peace treaty with society through therapy, or I would add, through meditation or Dharma practice. And so instead, what I would argue we are striving for is a kind of path that refuses to leave any system untouched, that recognizes that, as Maya Angelou says, the truth is no one of us can be free until everybody is free. That my deepest harmony in life is dependent on your harmony and the harmony of the white tigers in Indonesia and the forests in South America. It's all wrapped up in each other. So not only should this path give us the tools and practices to harmonize all systems, but it also ought to give us the integrity, or I should say, it should connect us or reconnect us with the integrity to recognize the magnitude of the pickle we're in and call forth the courage to dedicate our lives to this impossible ideal of a harmonized whole. And that this perhaps is a vision worth living for and even dying for. So thank you, everybody. That's the end of my talk. Now we'll move into a period of practice. In this guided meditation, we're going to spend a little bit of time playing with harmonizing all these different areas of our life. Yes, we'll spend some time harmonizing the energy body, maybe the psyche, harmonizing our relationships or building the intention to do so, harmonizing with life, with our vow, and coming into harmony with the nature of nature. And with this practice, we're going to be moving rather quickly through these various aspects. And so if you find one that's really like jamming for you and you really like it, then just stick with that and play there. You can listen to the recording later if you want to try something else. So we'll practice for about 40 minutes. Begin with harmonizing our mind and body, our energy body, the practice of samadhi. Bringing your attention into your body. Bringing your attention to the belly. Noticing the breath as it expands and contracts there. This practice is all about the balancing of relaxation and alertness. So you can notice if you right now could benefit from more relaxation or more energy. If you need more energy, I invite you to bring your attention to the in-breath, noticing the subtle expansion and energization of each in-breath, how it energizes and enervates the energy body. If you would like to bring more calm to the system, focusing on the out-breath, noticing that with each out-breath comes a quality of release, letting go, relaxation. So tuning in to these qualities, bringing these two qualities into harmony. Energy, calm. Allowing your whole being to settle here now. If you're tightening the body anywhere, noticing that and inviting it to release, relax, let go. Letting the mind settle, letting the body relax. If there's tension or contraction or pain, you can just allow that, just welcome that. Allow it to be part of this integrated whole. the mind leaves into abstraction and stories, invite it back to settle with the breath. If there's a feeling of aversion or craving or discomfort, seeing if you can open to a kind of spaciousness that can include that too. And graciously allow it. This too. So you sensitize to this field of feelings and energy. You can breathe in whatever way brings harmony. You can experiment. Perhaps it's a long, slow breath. Perhaps it's a shorter, rougher breath. Perhaps it's a very long exhale. Ask your body and experiment. Breathing with, participating with this field, this aspect of reality, in whatever way brings a sense of harmony, well-being, alignment, integrity. You can continue to harmonize the mind and the body in this way. You can move on to explore harmonizing the psyche. If you'd like to harmonize or play with harmonizing the psyche, you can notice if there are any patterns of thought or obvious points of tension in the body that feel like that's not me, or that just somehow feel not quite right. When you find it, find this one, and come into relationship. Say hello. If you're muted, you can say hello out loud. Or you can say hello with your inner voice. As if you're sitting down for tea with this part. You might ask it what it cares about, or what it's protecting. Most important thing is to bring a sense of kind and compassionate presence to this part, honoring it, welcoming it, appreciating it as part of a harmonious whole that is your psyche. Often just by turning towards these parts with kindness, compassion, presence, they start to relax and open up more space in the body. If that happens, notice it. Notice what impact that has on the energy body and the state of harmony there. If you can't find a part or if you get lost, it's okay. You can just relax into the breath, into the body. Cultivate harmony there. And if a part comes up, perhaps an inner critic says you're not doing it right, or something like that, you have a choice. You can either bring your attention back to the breath, or you can turn towards that part. Invite it for tea. Say hello. And seek to understand what it wants, how it sees the world. Noticing how that part expresses itself in the body. Noticing what emotions are connected to that part. or any images that that part wants to share with you. Or any thoughts, any speech that it wants to say to you. If you're with a part, you can even simply ask, is there anything that you'd like to share with me? Often, parts of our psyche just want to be heard, just want to be recognized and respected. So as you turn towards the different parts that might be present, notice how bringing compassionate presence into your relationship with them helps them relax. Helps the whole system come into harmony, alignment. And how this harmony of the psyche is reflected in the energy body. If doing this practice brings up a part of you that seems to think that you're doing it wrong or could be doing it better, or maybe a part that's bored or wishes you were having a different experience, engage that part, turn towards them with respect and care, connecting with them as you would with a loved one. you get lost or confused, you can always settle back down into the breath and the body. It's always there. Always a good place to abide. If you like, you can continue to explore whatever you're with, or you can follow my guidance as we explore harmonizing with others. You can bring to mind the people that you're close to, your circle of trust, whoever comes to mind. Could be your partner, your dear friends, family, coworkers, community members. And choose one of them. And with this person in mind, you can bring their image up. You can wish them well. Send them loving kindness, metta. You might imagine them happy, smiling, fulfilled. You might find a phrase that really resonates. May you feel loved. May you know peace. May you experience harmony with all that is. Feeling a sense of love, care, goodwill. Now, with this person in mind, consider what you could do that would bring more harmony into your relationship. What action you could take, what kind words you might say. What you might share with them or perhaps forgive them for. Or perhaps express an appreciation. Could be anything, but something that would bring harmony. Once you have something, and if it feels appropriate, commit to doing it. Commit to actually doing it. If it helps and it's available, you can write down a reminder or a to-do. Notice that even intending to act in harmonious ways feels good. That it harmonizes the psyche and the energy body. That ethical action brings harmony. If you like, once again, you can bring another person to mind. Send them metta. Wish them well. Consider if there's something you could do to bring more harmony into this relationship. Could be sharing something. Could be bringing both your attention to a tension in the relationship. Having faith in your ability to navigate the conflict to a deeper harmony. Again, if it feels appropriate, commit to actually doing that. If this practice disturbs the mind, brings you out of harmony can always drop back into the body and the breath. It's the foundation. Again, you can continue whatever exploration you're on. Or if you like, you can follow my guidance as we explore coming into harmony with the nature of nature. For this exercise, I'll be guiding with attention on the body sensations. But if you like, you can choose any sense door that you prefer. So either taking a particular part of the body or the whole body, notice change. Notice impermanence. Notice the flickering, fluxing nature of the sensations that make up what we call body. Might be changing quickly or slowly. It's changing, changing. If it helps as you pay attention, you can use the mental label changing or anicca, anicca. Notice this constantly changing nature. Just let go into the impermanence. Opening to this changing, flickering, vibrational world of body. overturn the delusion of permanence, coming into accord with the way things are. Arising and passing, living and dying, changing. Can continue to explore that method of karma coming into harmony with the nature of nature. You can move on to overturning the delusion that grasping or resisting brings happiness. The way to do that is notice anywhere in your experience where there's tension, contraction, resistance, pushing away. Go there and allow. Welcome. Totally open. Say yes. Whatever is happening. Overturning the sense that this experience should be other than what it is. allowing, welcoming. Totally opening to this experience as it appears to you now. Can continue to explore this method or follow me in exploring the final characteristic, overturning the delusion of the separate self. Noticing that whatever is happening is just happening. It's not me, not mine. It's just unfolding out of control. No different than a flower blooming or shooting star. It's just happening. Not me, not mine. Body sensations just coming and going. Thoughts arising and passing away. Sounds coming and going. Just happening. Nature unfolding. Life. Just happening. Not me, not mine. This whole sensorium just unfolding. Let it. Okay, so thank you, everyone. We'll now have about 20 minutes to share our experiences, ask any questions, discuss. This space really belongs to all of us. So I'm kind of stepping back a little bit as the central figure. And you know, if you want to ask me questions, you can, but it's totally awesome just to share experiences, like what that was like for you, what you noticed, what you learned, what was challenging for you, whatever you like.
Can I talk first?
Totally.
Well, for me, it was like I was a sheep coming back into the fold in a in a very big natural space. I've had to be away for a while just with other duties and for about 3 weeks, and it's just so easy to get out of the fold or not have the feeling that I have right now. So I just wanted to thank you very much for bringing me back into it. That's really good. Thank you so much. Very, very nice guidance. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for coming. Yeah.
I'd like to say that my ending experience of that was extremely beautiful. And I think for me, what really hit me hard to get me there was this combination of looking at change and then allowing the change to merely be unfolding. And I loved your phrasing. I think that phrasing just for some reason really spoke to me really well. The like a flower blooming or a shooting star in the sky. That those visualizations really helped me sit with that change in a way of just allowing it to be its own beauty. And I look forward to doing a lot more of that. And I had a particularly deeply enjoyable experience with that. So thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Yuli.
Hi. I think that the concept of harmony was really nicely explained in a way that felt fresh to me, even though I feel like I've been thinking about it recently quite a lot. And specifically, I guess this week, dealing with some lack of harmony was a very nice way to see it as a path to, I guess, deeper harmony, hopefully in the next week. I also have one question because I was really curious that you brought up internal family systems. I've been working with that method, but sort of outside of my meditation practice. And I've been wondering sort of how to best reconcile the idea of the energy of the self from internal family systems and the sort of like striving to realize that self is an illusion in Buddhism. And the way I see it now is it's basically the sort of self energy versus ego. But I would be curious how you maybe understand it or would correct it.
Can you say more about what you mean by self energy versus ego?
Yeah. So in internal family systems, the sort of self, capital S self, is outside of the parts, and it represents these qualities of compassion, confidence, clarity, creativity. And I think that is different than the sort of understanding of self that we try to get away from through meditation. But I'm not sure they're called the same. So
Yeah. I haven't like totally clarified the integration myself. I to some degree feel like I'm moving between different modes of relating to my experience. What I notice is that particularly with those last set of exercises, like seeing the impermanence or just like allowing everything to be as it is, have the same impact on my experience that like really meeting apart does, in that it like releases this fixation, right? So the part, when it comes up, and if it's not being kind of respected, will just keep trying to grab your attention. And will keep trying to get you to kind of notice it and respect it, or however you want to frame it. And so one way of relating to that is to meet it as an autonomous part of the world and kind of grant it personhood and dignity. And another way is to release fixation on all phenomena altogether, and then it will fade just as everything will fade. And I find that you want to be able to do both. Sometimes seeing the impermanence of everything, like there's a part that's just not willing to go that direction, just isn't, for whatever reason. And so you want to be able to turn to it and be like, hey, what's up? Like, why don't you want to come on this ride? Like, we're going to a really beautiful place. What's up? And you get to know its world. And then often it will let go and then come along for, you'll be able to release yourself into what in IFS they call self, and what in Buddhism is often referred to as an experience of emptiness, relative emptiness, where everything is fading, everything is being released. There's a kind of settling, a kind of opening of the energy body, a kind of harmonization, which in IFS they call self-energy, and in Buddhism often is referred to as piti. Yes, this kind of joyful experience of just being alive. And so I'm not quite sure, like theoretically yet, how to kind of align them, but they seem like very different frameworks. But in practice, I think you can kind of you can dance between them in a way that really makes practical sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting because so far I've only been sort of cognitively thinking about it. And today I feel like you gave me a little bit of a practice of both. So I think that was an interesting, an interesting thing to try. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for the question.
Just a short report. I found almost the whole meditation like very painful, like a struggle, but at the same time like resting into like struggling to be me and looking for freedom. And sometimes the guidance, like as if I saw the guidance coming in, and I leaned back and kind of allowed some opening in my attempt to practice, and all that together, I take away as harmony, like the totality of my experience, the struggle, the guidance, the opening, felt like harmony.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I mean, it's funny, like folks who have been training at like the monastic academy long enough, it's kind of like, it's strange because you start to actually love struggle, because you're like, oh, this definitely indicates that I'm about to grow. This definitely indicates that harmony is coming, right? You start to trust that very deeply. And so when I'm sitting down and I'm like struggling in my meditation, sometimes I'm just struggling and it just sucks. But sometimes, or more often than not, actually, I'm like, all right, like I trust this. I trust the kind of codependency of struggle, conflict, and harmonization. And it's exactly like what you say. You kind of rode that wave. You didn't get off the ride, and then it broke. It's beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
I'd like to offer a question that I've been sitting with since we sort of concluded this meditation. I loved that there were so many different facets that you introduced. Each of the different stages, I felt like I was going on a bit of a journey, and each one was different. From the practical, maybe I should take a note because there's somebody I need to reach out to in my life, all the way to thinking about noticing just the change that's constant in my life. The tension between all of these different pieces gave me something that I can think about harmony with, the concept of harmony, about why did you share these pieces for us, each one being different, but contributing to something. And that's what I'm holding as a question is, what is the harmony that comes from looking at each of these different facets, all within the same meditation? So.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's part of what is most exciting for me, is this possibility of a kind of like meta systematic harmonization, right? That you can play between, dance between these different methods and kind of wayfind towards a more robust harmony by using what seem like relatively disparate and even in some cases antagonistic methods, right? On the one hand, you're seeing how everything is impermanent and selfless. And on the other hand, you're granting autonomy and personhood to aspects of your psyche. And yet these somehow play together in a way that delivers us into more peace, more equilibrium, and more power. And so I'm fascinated by exactly the same question that you're speaking to. So yeah, thank you for lifting it up.
Thank you for the guidance. Really magnificent. Can people hear me if I have to
If you
talk
speak
kind of
louder.
unnaturally loud?
I think they're saying a little louder.
A little louder. Okay, I'll look at you in the screen. I'll ask the question facing this way. Yeah. Okay, I'm still going to face this way. I was really struck by the passage from the psychologist, I think, at the end of your talk, James Hillman, about not signing a peace treaty by meditating, not just being able to find peace by merely putting your own house in order. I was wondering, why is it that we can't sign a peace treaty with the world through meditation? Why can't we find happiness just by accepting all of the brokenness of the world and how it all is without resolving it? Why is that?
Oh, geez. Yeah, well, I think it's, how do I say this? Of course, we can find a kind of happiness by signing a peace treaty with ourselves. But what I think I'm trying to bring out is that we're leaving a more robust, more comprehensive happiness on the table, a more comprehensive kind of harmony on the table, if we're not also engaged with and attempting to harmonize the systems of the world, like our communities and our cities and our countries, right? Because when I walk down the street, in a country, in a state, in a town where people are suffering, it's hard. I spent some time in Berlin last year, and people there, maybe I don't know, maybe this is just my perception, but they seemed a lot happier. My story is that that's because they had a social safety net. They weren't all on the verge of precarity, right? They all felt like there was a kind of robustness to their ease. They were like playing together in a park, and it was like, oh, you all look so nice and chill and happy. I don't really see that in America. And I think there's a more robust kind of harmony that's probably possible there, because you're not kind of reminded of all the ways that our civilization is broken, right? Not to say that Berlin is like perfect or something, but relatively, there's a difference that you can feel. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then I guess there's still like a precariousness because Berlin is part of this even larger whole that doesn't have this safety net, this existential risk, as this
That's right.
It's precariousness and non-robustness.
Yes, that's perfect. I almost feel like I planted you to say that, but that's exactly right. Yes, there is. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why we have to preserve life on Earth. So it's a good time to end. This event is brought to you by the Monastic Academy for the Preservation of Life on Earth. And we are supported by the donations of people just like yourself. So if you'd like this kind of event to continue and more people to live in accord with the principles of harmonizing all systems, please get involved and support this in flourishing. And thank you all so much for coming and for dedicating your lives to practice and into harmonizing yourself and your relationships in the world. It's beautiful and good. So, thank you all. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. You. Good night.
Thank you.
Good luck on your retreat, Renee and Rich.
Oh,
Thanks, everyone.
Say hi to Vermont.
Yeah, we will.
Take care. Good travels.
Thank you. Be well. Have a good month.
Yeah, we'll miss you.
Bye, Willow.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Willow. Bye, Willow.
Bye.